Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Siheyuan, 100,000 Death Attendants, killing Jia and Zhang. Zhang Xiangdong crossed the courtyard and became a sickly seedling. At the beginning, my 3-year-old sister was beaten to death by animals and forced to vacate her room. At a critical moment, Zhang Xiangdong activated the system and received 100,000 death attendants. Under Zhang Xiangdong's command, 100,000 death attendants brutally attacked the Jia and Zhang families. The old lady is in danger. Meanwhile, Zhang Xiangdong activated the system all, and various products from the underworld were launched one after another. Jia Dongxu hit my sister. Just kill it. Silly pillar grinning at me. I'll take you to the palace purification room. Zhonghai, how many days can you live in the apocalyptic zombie era? The birds were tormented to death and suffered a devastating loss. Meanwhile, with 100,000 dead attendants at hand, Zhang Xiangdong opened a factory, engaged in research and development, brought glory to the country, and his small life became increasingly prosperous. Qin Huairu, Yu Haitang, Yu Li, Lu Xiaoa, Ding Qiunan They all prostrated themselves under his overalls. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Novice Gift Pack, 100,000 Deadly Attendants. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In 1959, in the winter of 49 cities. In the backyard of number 38 Nanluoga Lane, in a room. Brother, wake up. Woo-woo. Brother, the girl is so scared. Woo-woo, don't leave the girl alone. The skinny little girl held on to the sickly man's arm on the Kong, sobbing incessantly. Thirsty, so thirsty, I'm about to die from drinking. Zhang Xiangdong closed his eyes and muttered hoarsely to himself. Brother is awake, he wants to drink water. The girl will go and pour water for him. The little girl happily ran to pour water for him, seeing that his brother was not dead. How can there be a child's voice? Zhang Xiangdong's eyes were heavy with surprise, only seeing a small silhouette. The next moment, he froze. A dilapidated house, old furnishings, the ground was covered in fragments of dishes and dishes. Where is this? I'm crossing over. Zhang Xiangdong felt a bit dazed. I'm sleeping in my math class, aren't I? Why did you suddenly come here? Where is this? A series of question marks in my mind. This made Zhang Xiangdong even more confused. He shook his head in confusion. A large amount of memories flooded into my mind like a trend. After digesting this information, he was immediately stunned. 4 or 9 cities. Rolling mill. A courtyard house. I actually traveled to a world filled with quadrangles integrating memories from our predecessors. I sorted out everything that happened to me. Zhang Xiangdong suddenly became furious. The predecessor of his body, also known as Zhang Xiangdong. Living in the backyard of a courtyard, next door to the deaf old lady's house, the 3 rooms in the house add up to over 60 square meters. His family is the best house in a courtyard besides the silly Zhu family. More than 2 years ago, after my parents died, I took over my father's job in person, becoming a fitter in a steel rolling mill. Relying on my younger sister's daughter, although life was difficult, my predecessor's personality was also relatively weak. After becoming a first-level fitter, he can earn a monthly salary of 33 yuan and make do with his living. But who knew more than a year ago, my original body suddenly contracted a strange illness and couldn't go to work. After cutting off income, there was only a slight subsidy from the factory, and it was also remembered by many animals for going to the house. That's right, not by the Jia family, but by several households such as the Jia family, Lu family, Yan family, etc. They originally intended to occupy his house after his original body died of illness. But who knew that although his predecessor was sick, he never died. Over time, the beasts became anxious. They simply exposed their claws and teeth, saying that the Zhang siblings can't live in such a big house and demanding that they immediately move to the miscellaneous room. Take these 3 upper rooms out and make them public housing. Let the more populous families in the yard, especially the Jia, Yan, and Lu families, live in one house each. The original body naturally disagrees. So just the day before yesterday, when Jia Dongxu, Jia Zhang, Sili Zhu, Lu Guangqi, Yan Jiecheng and others arrived at their predecessor's house and forced them to move. My predecessor was furious and wanted to go find the street. But he was stopped by the 3 officials in charge of the courtyard, Zhonghai, Lu Haizhong, and Yan Bugui, who said that everything would be resolved through a general meeting of the entire courtyard. At the conference, these animals, snakes, and rats lay in a nest. Not only did no one criticize the Jia family, but they also reversed the truth. What is it that your family of 2 lives in such a big house, while someone else's family of 5 or 6 lives in such a small house? Why can't we accommodate each other? Even the deaf old lady helped them speak, saying one's true self is wrong, not knowing how to empathize, not understanding neighbors. So, Jia Dongxu, Lu Guangqi, and Sili Zhu beat their original bodies severely, shouting to give him 3 days, if he doesn't move and make room, he will be killed. I was beaten in my original body, unable to fight back, and the more I thought about it when I got home, the angrier I became. Ignoring the illness, he drank half a bottle of ergotu and died in despair. After the original owner died, he lay in bed for a whole day. The poor girl just stayed there for a day and a night. Looking at the back of the little girl pouring water for herself, thin as a stick, Zhang Xiangdong couldn't even imagine, if you haven't traveled through time, what consequences will a girl have. But what made him even angrier was that, how could my predecessor be so cowardly? Can't you still use the kitchen knife if you can't beat it? No matter how bad it is, make a soil bomb and send it to the whole courtyard to the west. At this moment, his anger reached its peak, and his eyes turned red. Ding, detected a burst of resentment from the host. The super Death Attendant system is currently being activated. System startup completed. May I ask if the host is bound? System. Zhang Xiangdong's eyes lit up. He loved reading online articles in his past life, but how could he not understand the wonderful use of the system as a golden finger? Bind. Ding, congratulations to the host, successfully bound. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a beginner gift package. May I ask if you want to open it? Open. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining 100,000 death attendants and one small space with you. Currently 300 cubic meters. Death attendants. Zhang Xiangdong's eyes flickered with doubt. System, let me introduce your basic situation. Ding, this system is a death attendant system. Currently, the host can freely choose the placement location for the 100,000 death attendants they receive. After the death attendants are placed, the system mall will also be opened. After a brief explanation of the system, Zhang Xiangdong roughly understood the function of the system. Simply put, after he chooses to invest, the 100,000 death attendants will automatically merge with the rest of the world. These people's identities, status, age, and jobs are all random. All Zhang Xiangdong can choose is the placement location. And their biggest commonality is that they are all 100% loyal to Zhang Xiangdong. After pondering for a while, Zhang Xiangdong said, all 100,000 death attendants will be deployed in the 49 cities. Since he wants to live in the 4 or 9 cities, the death attendant naturally needs to be closer. Furthermore, it can be said that, in the 1960s, the 4 or 9 cities were also the busiest in the country. It can be said to be a true economic, political, and cultural center. Death attendants are here to play their greatest role. Ding, all 100,000 death attendants have been successfully launched. The host can view the dead attendants within a radius of 10 kilometers through the system panel mini-map. P.S. The host can also freely set the viewing range. Zhang Xiangdong nodded in satisfaction. The 4 or 9 cities of this era, there are approximately 4 million people in total. After the launch, that is to say, 1 in every 40 people is Zhang Xiangdong's Death Attendant. Chapter 2. Death Attendant arrives, kill Jia Zhang. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ding, all 100,000 Death Attendants have been deployed to 49th City, and the system mall has automatically opened. Is the placement ready? Zhang Xiangdong's mind moved, and at the moment when his consciousness was neutral, a water blue map appeared. The center of the map is a golden dot, which represents Zhang Xiangdong himself. In addition, there are densely packed small red dots, which represent Death Attendants. At present, there are nearly 100 red dots very close to the golden light spot, which are moving in different directions. The closest ones to Zhang Xiangdong are only a few millimeters short on the map. It is estimated that these Death Attendants are also residents of the courtyard. Zhang Xiangdong randomly stared at a small red dot, and the information of this Death Attendant immediately appeared on the map. Zhu Laopi, 26 years old, carries big bags at the train station, with a monthly salary of 35. Wang Ergu, 38 years old, a third-level riveter in a steel rolling mill, with a monthly salary. After randomly checking a few, Zhang Xiangdong nodded in satisfaction. Sure, with so many Dead Attendants by my side, I feel a sense of security. What Jia Zhang, stupid pillar, all die for me. Just as Zhang Xiangdong wanted to check out the newly obtained system mall, but suddenly a wave of insults came from outside the door. Zhang Xiangdong, you dog, come out of here. You shameless thing, if you don't come out again, I'll go in and smash your dog's head. Yo. Speaking of Chow Chow, where will Chow Chow arrive? Zhang Xiangdong got out of bed and was about to walk out when the girl rushed over and hugged his thigh. Brother, don't go out, they will hit you. Zhang Xiangdong touched her head and said, don't be afraid, girl. No one can bully us in the future. After speaking, he left the girl at home and opened the door and walked out on his own. Outside the door, Jia Zhangshi, Bonggeng, Jia Dongxu, Silly Zhu, and Lu Haizhong stood in the courtyard. Dog thing, didn't we notify you yesterday to move out? Why are you still here? Jia Zhang spat angrily with his hands on his hips. If you ask me to move, then I will move. What are you? Zhang Xiangdong said as he examined the situation. Although he loved sports in his past life, his current body is too weak, the hardware is not good, it definitely won't be a match for Jia Dongxu and Silly Zhu in a real fight. So he silently issued instructions in his mind, asked the closest to the courtyard, except for the Dead Attendants of the courtyard, to rush over immediately. Bastard, how did you talk to my mom? It seems like you're a jerk with itchy skin, right? Jia Dongxu saw his mom eat his food. As a mommy boy, how can he tolerate it? So he immediately rolled up his sleeves and walked over. Since Zhang Xiangdong fell ill, he has fought this guy many times. So at this moment, Jia Dongxu is full of confidence in beating Zhang Xiangdong. Dongxu, don't be lenient, kill this little bastard. Jia Zhang jumped and shouted. Since you won't die when you die, don't you know how to make room for me, then don't blame us for being tough. Mom, take a look. Bunny, I must kill you today. Jia Dongxu quickly rushed to Zhang Xiangdong, a hard slap is about to throw it out. Upon seeing this, Zhang Xiangdong did not panic at all, but instead a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Did this product go crazy the day before yesterday? Jia Dongxu was slightly stunned when he saw him smile. And in that moment, a man with a big beard suddenly rushed into the backyard of the courtyard. I punched Jia Dongxu in the stomach. Wang Dashu, why are you hitting me? Jia Dongxu was confused. Wang Dashu is a good skater in the neighboring alley. He is a whopping 1.9 meters tall, with a burly body like an iron tower. Wang Dashu didn't even match Jia Dongxu's words. He grabbed Jia Dongxu's collar, facing his chubby face. Papa pa 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 is just a dozen big pussy bags. He felt dizzy and disoriented while fighting. Then the right foot lifted up like lightning, it was a flying kick towards his lower abdomen. Bang! With a loud bang, Jia Dongxu was immediately kicked out more than 1 meter. I fell and ate shit, so I couldn't even get up. However, Wang Dumao was not good at giving up and ran straight towards Jia Dongxu, punching and kicking him again. Everything happened too suddenly, and everyone was hit off guard. After several minutes, they just realized it. When Jia Zhang saw her son being beaten, she immediately became furious and reflexively thought that Wang Dashu was the helper Zhang Xiangdong had found. She dared not provoke Wang Dashu, so she asked Zhang Xiangdong for trouble. Zhang Xiangdong, you bastard, dare you instruct Wang Dashu to hit my son? I will definitely kill you. Hurry up and let him let go of my son, I'll beat you and me to death with my big mouth. As he spoke, he rushed over and extended a sharp object to scratch Zhang Xiangdong. The words were not finished, and the person had not yet come to Zhang Xiangdong. Outside the door came a chaotic sound of footsteps. Soon, more than 50 people rushed into the backyard, grabbed Jia and Zhang, and started punching and kicking. These people include men and women, young people, those in their prime, and even the elderly and children. A group of people surrounded Jia Zhang in the middle, causing her to cry and howl, rolling all over the ground. Stop fighting. Help, help. Ah, my leg, it hurts so much, it's about to be broken. Jia Zhang's mournful voice echoed through the courtyard. Hush. Seeing this scene, Zhonghai, Lu Haizhong, Qin Huairu, Silly Zhu and others were momentarily confused. What's going on here? Zhonghai murmured to himself. Why are so many people beating Jia and Zhang? Lu Haizhong also looked confused. Silly pillar, hurry up and persuade me. If I continue to fight like this, my mother.in.law will be killed. Qin Huairu stomped her feet anxiously. Silly pillar suddenly became speechless. Although he craves Qin Huairu's body, he is not really foolish. So many people are beating Jia Zhang to the death, making it clear that they want her life. Isn't going up at this moment a blatant pursuit of death? Jia Dongxu was beaten very hard by Wang Big Beard. When he saw his mother being beaten, he had only one thought in his mind. If you hit my mother, you can't hit me again. There's no way, I can't control the scene at all. Zhonghai and a few others hid and quickly asked Lu Guangqi to go and report to the police. Not long ago, the only thing that made Jia Zhang angry when he was beaten was to vent his anger, not to vent his anger. I don't know how long it has been. Finally, Lu Guangqi's voice came from the front yard, the police are here, the police are here. If the money is in place in Chapter 3, it's not impossible to die. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After receiving Lu Guangqi's report, the Nanluo Guxiang police station immediately dispatched personnel to the police station. When they arrived at the courtyard, when seeing Jia Zhang, who was beaten to the brink of death in the center of the crowd, and when there was blood all over the ground, suddenly shocked. They haven't seen group fights before, but if you make someone look like this, it's really shocking. What kind of grudges are there? Can this person still live? Zhang Xiangdong only wants to clean up the animals and doesn't want to cause trouble with the government. So under his command, the brawl finally came to a stop. 2 police officers are responsible for transporting Jia Zhang to the staff hospital. The place where Jia Zhang lay before was only covered in blood and feces. The remaining police began to inquire about the situation while keeping records. Qin Huairu, as the only person in the Jia family who has not been beaten so far, started accepting inquiries first. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Wang Dashu from the neighboring alley suddenly came to the courtyard and started beating my man. And not long after, another group of people came and attacked my mother.in.law. Qin Huairu covered her big belly and wiped away her tears as she spoke. In fact, both Jia Dongxu and Jia Zhangshi wanted to hit Zhang Xiangdong first, and then they were beaten. But she dare not say it. After all, it's definitely not right for one's own family to hit someone first, besides, she is also afraid of exposing the forced eviction of her own house. The questioning police officer frowned upon hearing her say so. Are you sure the other party beat your family for no reason? I remind you, this female comrade, that if you don't report or conceal the situation, you will be held legally responsible. As a police officer with rich grassroots case handling experience, he could tell at a glance that Qin Huairu was not right and had concealed key information. Qin Huairu is just an uneducated housewife. Rao is cunning, but after all, he has never dealt with officials. Hearing him say this, he immediately panicked. Cough. Zhonghai hurriedly walked over upon seeing the situation. Hello police officer, I am an old man from this courtyard house. We were just chatting here at the time, and we really didn't know why the Jia family mother and son were beaten. We were also curious about the reason. Why don't you ask the person who hit them first? Perhaps they were instructed by someone else. He spoke and calmly glanced at Zhang Xiangdong. He always feels that this matter is related to Zhang Xiangdong. Jia Dongxu was about to hit Zhang Xiangdong when he was suddenly hit by Wang Dashu, who rushed out. Jia Zhang is also like this should not be a coincidence. Although I think Zhang Xiangdong can't afford to hire dozens of people to beat people, it's always right to ask. Zhang Xiangdong noticed his gaze and gave him a middle finger. What if you suspect Zhonghai? The death attendants I called have no contact with me in the past and do not know each other. Most importantly, they come from all walks of life, all places, of all ages and genders, and have nothing in common with each other. I don't believe that Zhonghai can find evidence. The two investigating police officers exchanged a glance and felt that what Zhonghai said was reasonable, so they began to ask the 50 death attendants. After some questioning, I felt a bit confused. These people don't know each other and they all do different jobs, some are even retired workers, students, household residents, and even a 5-guarantee household and a widow. They all say they don't know anyone else in this courtyard. The reasons for beating Jia and Zhang were varied. It is said that when selling vegetables in the market, he was scolded by Jia Zhang, so he came to seek revenge. It is said that Jia Zhang spread his gossip, and he came to seek revenge out of anger. It is also said that Jia Zhang seduced his old man and she came to fight the mistress. It is said that Jia Zhang stole things from her house, even some say that Jia Zhang is too ugly and scared his children to tears. In short, there is anything to say. As for why there was a violent attack on the Jia and Zhang families together. Don't ask, asking is just a coincidence. I just want to hit her now, and I don't know why others choose to hit her now. After the inquiry, a few police officers suddenly became worried. This cannot be done. In the end, there was no other choice but to take these people back and interrogate them slowly. Zhang Xiangdong is not in a hurry when he sees the situation. They just hit Jia Zhang a few times each, and it's not a big deal to just take it out. Jia Zhang looked like that, just because he had suffered too much, but who made her offend so many people? As for who committed the crime, so who knows? The law does not hold the public accountable. In this era, there were no cameras. As long as there were no casualties, it was likely to end up being abandoned. As for Wang Dashu, it's easy to say that he himself is a street wanderer and a target of street renovation. And Jia Dongxu hasn't been beaten up to any extent. Everyone's attention was drawn to Jia Zhangshi, and Jia Dongxu was directly ignored. Sent away the police officers and those 50 hitters, Zhonghai, Lu Haizhong, Yan Bugui, Qin Huairu, and others discussed it. We are ready to go to the staff hospital together. After all, when Jia Zhang left, he was beaten up and had a lot of feces, urine, and farts all over the ground, and the blood flow was quite serious. He still needs to go and have a look. Upon seeing this, Zhang Xiangdong also followed suit. Silly Zhu saw him following and was about to say something, but was stopped by Zhonghai. Actually, Zhang Xiangdong is not worried about Jia Zhang's condition at all. The reason why he followed, just because I just checked the death attendant map, it was discovered that the staff hospital also had its own death attendants, and one of them was a deputy dean specializing in surgery. The group quickly arrived at the staff hospital. After consulting with the nurse, they found Jia Zhang's ward. Patient's family, the patient has been severely beaten and requires immediate surgery. Please go and pay the fee first, the attending physician said to the group. Surgery. How much does it cost? If it's too expensive, we won't treat it. Jia Dongxu became anxious when he heard the money. Although mom is important, money is even more important. The doctor gave him a blank glance and said, "Are you your own son? This is your own mother. Can you watch her die?" Jia Dongxu lowered his head and remained silent. If the money is in place, it seems that it's not impossible to watch my biological mother die. Your mother is a family member of the staff, so having the surgical fee is enough. 100 is enough, the doctor sighed helplessly and opened the form, handing it to him. Jia Dongxu looked at the list and didn't really want to take it. What are the consequences if we don't have surgery? Chapter 4. Yidao goes to the stage. Jia Zhangshi, danger. You are listening at novel full.audio. A person without surgery is probably going to die. This is your biological mother. Can you let her die for 100 yuan? Either pay the money quickly, or take the person away immediately. The doctor saw Jia Dongxu sacrificing his life and wealth, and immediately lost patience. Jia Dongxu has no choice. In front of so many people, can he say he wants 100 yuan instead of his own mother? He took the order and stuffed it directly into Qin Huairu's arms. Take the money. Take the money. Where do I have money? Qin Huairu turned her head and looked at Silzu with tears in her eyes. Silzu, can you lend me 100 yuan? This, Sister Qin. Silly Zhu felt a bit embarrassed. 100 yuan, but his salary is almost 3 months. Qin Huairu blinked her big eyes and tears immediately welled up in her eyes. Silly pillar, it's Qin Jia who begged you. I really can't do anything about it. I can't just watch my mother.in.law die. You know, Sister Qin has the softest heart. Although my mother.in.law always scolds me and even hits me, I can't just watch her die without saving her. Silly Zhu is just a licking dog. Seeing the goddess like this, he sighed at her kindness in his heart, immediately defeated. Qin Jia, stop crying. I'll lend you this money. Jia Dongxu took the money and went to pay the fee. After completing the payment, go to the entrance of the operating room. The attending physician saw him and said with some joy, your family is really lucky. Our vice dean, who is a famous surgical expert in the 4 or 9 cities, has performed surgery on the general. He was given the nickname Yidao. He hasn't been holding a knife for a long time, and he happened to be here today. I heard that your family is facing difficulties and I'm planning to personally help your mother with the surgery. This good luck is not something that everyone has. Experts. Vice Dean. Have you undergone surgery on the general? Hearing these words, Jia Dongxu did not feel happy for his mother, but blurted them out, so powerful, can we add money? If he adds money, he doesn't want it. The attending physician's face stiffened. What kind of filial son is this? I only have money in my heart. It's better to have a pig's head than to have you. No extra money. Just don't add any money. Jia Dongxu felt relieved. Jia Zhang was sent to the operating room like this soon. Yidao, with white hair all over his head, walked in wearing a surgical gown. Before entering the door, he glanced at Zhang Xiangdong as if unintentionally. The red light during the surgery came on, indicating the start of the surgery. Jia Dongxu, Zhonghai, Silly Zhu, Qin Huairu, and others stood on benches in front of the operating room. Zhang Xiangdong quietly left the staff hospital. At this point, there is no need to stay any longer. In fact, although Jia Zhang was beaten by the crowd, these people did not have weapons. I just looked miserable and my leg was broken, bleeding a lot. If treated promptly during normal surgery, it would be at most a limp. But when it comes to Yidao hands, it's different. Even as the vice dean, Yidao is still a death attendant. He will execute the instructions given to him by Zhang Xiangdong 100%. Jia Zhang's legs are definitely not safe this time. And this is just the beginning of everything. Zhang Xiangdong has already figured out that he will not resort to legal means for these beasts in the courtyard. Evil people still need to be sharpened by them. They will play well with these beasts bit by bit. Play them to death. In the winter of the 4 or 9 cities, the days are short and the nights are long. After leaving the hospital, although it was only after 5 p.m., it was already dark. Zhang Xiangdong was afraid that the girl would be alone at home, so he hurriedly walked towards the courtyard. When passing by a state-owned small restaurant, I bought a few fat crumb buns. The steamed buns of this era are made of genuine materials, without the addition of technology and ruthlessness, and smell fragrant. Entering the courtyard, just turned into the hanging flower gate, several death attendants living in the front yard immediately welcomed them and knelt down in unison, "Master. Master." Zhang Xiangdong looked around and saw no one else, only these few death attendants. They live in the front yard, middle yard, and also in the backyard. At this moment, they are guarding here together, obviously waiting for themselves. He then gave the order, "Let's all get up. Don't expose our relationship in the yard, just call me by my name." He plans to use these dead attendants as nails and eyeliner in the quadrangle to monitor the animals. So I can't usually show good relationships or intimacy with these people. The death attendants received orders to stand up and disperse. Zhang Xiangdong continued walking deep into the yard, carrying the steamed buns. As soon as she entered the door, the girl rushed over. "Brother, you finally came back. They didn't hit you, did they?" "No, my brother said he won't let anyone bully us again in the future." Zhang Xiangdong pulled the little girl onto the Kong. There is a small Kong table on the Kong, which is the only belongings in their family now. When it comes to furniture, pots, bowls, ladles, and pots in this family, they have all been stolen by the Jia family. Only this small Kong table was left. Zhang Xiangdong looked around the deserted house. Today's event is just the beginning. Next, he needs to settle the accounts of all the beasts in this courtyard that have bullied and stolen their belongings. On the Kong, Zhang Xiangdong placed the steamed buns wrapped in craft paper on the Kong table and opened them. "Wow, it's Baozi." Little stars immediately appeared in the girl's eyes. She leaned over exaggeratedly and sniffed it with her little nose. "It smells so good. After my brother fell ill, the girl has never eaten steamed buns again." Upon hearing this, Zhang Xiangdong's nose suddenly soured. "The meat is so delicious, ahem ahem, the girl wants to eat it all in one bite." Speaking, he even took a few bites into the air, waving his teeth and claws. Upon seeing this, Zhang Xiangdong's nose turned sour again. There is a mist in the eyes. It's just steamed buns that children in later generations have grown tired of, and there's no meat at all, but it can make the girl dance happily. At this point, even without inheriting the original emotions, even if he is just a stranger, I couldn't help but feel heartbroken. He couldn't even imagine, if I don't come back, how should a girl spend a winter night with temperatures below -10 degrees Celsius in the 4 or 9 cities? And those birds and beasts that are eyeing closely, can a sheep fall into a tiger's mouth and be safely preserved? Perhaps the little girl can't survive this winter at all anyway. Since he borrowed his predecessor's body, he has a responsibility to take care of his only sister for him. "Come on, brother, let you eat enough steamed buns today." The siblings held on to the big bun and enjoyed it happily. After eating and drinking, the two of them lay on the Kong. Previously, the girl had been guarding him in front of the hospital bed day and night, and was already exhausted to the extreme. At this moment, I had a full meal and quickly fell asleep. Zhang Xiangdong's mind moved and he opened the system panel. Chapter 5. System Space, Underworld Goods. You are listening at novel.Audio. After finally being idle, Zhang Xiangdong opened his personal panel. Super Deadpool System, Host. Zhang Xiangdong, Life. 22/23, Strength. 3/normal person's limit is 10, passing is 6, Speed. 4/normal person limit 10, passing is 6, Agility. 4/normal person's limit is 10, passing is 6, Physical Fitness. 4/normal person limit 10, passing is 6, Spirit. 8/normal person's limit is 10, passing is 6, Skill. Fitter, Level 1, Subordinate. 100000 Death Attendants, Available Redemption Points. 2058, Function. System Mall, Portable Space, 300 cubic meters, dot. This seeing the speed, strength, and physique of that water below the average Zhang Xiangdong was somewhat speechless. This predecessor was really a weak chicken. However, what is this exchange point? Ding, reply to the host. The wealth value created by the 100,000 death attendants every day will be refreshed by the system as the exchange point at a ratio of 100:1 for the host. The host can use the exchange point to purchase various items, skills, runes, and seals in the system mall. The system mall displays 6 types of products daily and refreshes at 6 o'clock in the morning. P.S. Some items may randomly refresh discounts, please stay tuned. After understanding the usage of the system, Zhang Xiangdong's mind moved and he opened the system mall. System Mall, Product 1. Primary Physical Fitness Enhancement Potion. It can change the physical fitness of the person taking the potion, enhance immunity, and increase physical fitness. 1000 exchange points, PS, 1 compromise. Product 2. Bill Super Gift Package. Contains various bills such as grain tickets, meat tickets, cloth tickets, etc. All receipts issued by the system have reasonable sources. Please rest assured to use them. 1000 exchange points, PS, 0.1 compromise. Product 3. Fitter Skill Enhancement Card. After use, the fitter skill can be improved to level 6. 1000 exchange points, PS, 8 compromise. Product 4. Weapon Drawing Gift Pack. Desert Eagle Drawing, AK-47, M4A1, 98K, Barrett. 1 million exchange points. Product 5. Attribute Enhancement Scroll, Lifetime, increases lifespan by 1 year. 10,000 exchange points, PS, 0.1 compromise. Product 6. Plane Experience Card. Anyone can be given to any plane to experience life there. 50,000 redemption points. Glancing around the 6 products, Zhang Xiangdong's mouth twitched slightly when he saw the Hot Weapon Blueprint gift package. This Nima is outrageous. And this space transfer card, after using it on someone, they can be teleported to a certain location in the system. And currently, some of the locations in the system are all underworld places, what cannibals, grasslands, snow-capped mountains, tropical rainforests with poisonous gases, the palace's clean room, there are even zombies, a world of zombies. At this moment, Zhang Xiangdong was already fantasizing about which animal to send to travel first. But he can't afford it now, so he can only think about it and pull it down. Except for the drawings and space cards, most of the other items are currently on sale, and they are all what you need. Take them all directly. Ding, congratulations to the host. The exchange for the primary gene potion has been successful. Ding, congratulations to the host. Ding, gong ding, the voice kept ringing in my mind. The next thing is easy to handle, add the lifespan point first. Although not much at the age of 24, it is still better than 23. Besides, we can still buy it in the future. Next are the skills of the fitter and the receipts. Finally, Zhang Xiangdong looked at the small cup of ice blue liquid in his hand, he took a deep breath, drank the medicine without saying a word. The next moment, Zhang Xiangdong only felt a burning sensation, starting from dantian, it slowly spreads throughout the body. Every part of the skin throughout the body, it seems like something is about to break through the ground. He couldn't help but moan. After more than 10 minutes, the anomaly ended. Zhang Xiangdong felt full of strength all over his body. He lifted the hem of his clothes and took a look, but seeing my own lower abdomen, 8 bulging abdominal muscles appeared. Wokeo. The muscular lines are as graceful as Greek sculptures. Raise your hand, clench your fist, a creaking sound, crisp yet full of power. Since waking up, he has always looked listless. His face was as pale as paper. Whenever I move, I can't catch my breath and keep trying to hold on. I was exhausted from a trip to the hospital yesterday. And now. But the whole person is refreshed and spiritually incomparable, as if reborn. Zhang Xiangdong wants to find a mirror to reflect on and see his changes clearly. The only mirror in the house was also shattered by the silly pillar. He can't just pee and make do with it in the end. He could only casually pick up a brick from the ground. With one punch, the brick instantly broke into 2 pieces with a loud bang. Not bad, not bad. It seems that the Constitution potion enhances not only the constitution, but also the strength. He opened the system panel again. When I saw that the strength increased to 8, the speed increased to 7, and the agility increased to 6, I nodded. However, since it is a physical enhancement potion, of course, the most significant increase is in physical fitness, which has been directly increased from 3 to 9. Although Zhang Xiangdong doesn't know what illness his predecessor had, but now with this physique, it is estimated that even cancer will be cured. After purchasing the required goods, Zhang Xiangdong saw that there were only a pitiful 58 points left at the exchange point. But it doesn't matter. His 100,000 dead attendants work every day. As long as the dead attendants work for a day, the exchange point can always be refreshed the next day. It's just like a perpetual motion machine. With this thought in mind, he lay down and closed his eyes, sinking into a dream. The next morning, around 8 o'clock, Zhang Xiangdong was awakened by a knock on the door. Zhang Xiangdong, wake up. Wake up and hold the entire hospital meeting. So lazy, the sun is shining on my buttocks and I still can't get up. Someone knocked on the door and left, and the sound gradually faded away. Zhang Xiangdong opened his eyes, got out of bed, and began to wash up. Although he has just traveled here, he is not unfamiliar with the entire conference. In my past life, he has watched TV dramas in the courtyard and has also seen many similar cultural works. I know that in this rundown yard, even big things need to be discussed in a meeting. He didn't originally enjoy attending this meeting, but his intuition tells him that today's meeting is related to himself. So he still plans to go over and gather the beasts. The new book set sale. Please give us some flowers, review tickets, and comments. This book takes a violent and harem-oriented approach, with daily updates starting at 10,000. As long as the data keeps up, the author will explode with updates. P.S. For those who enjoy living in a courtyard house, click on the author's name and read Siheyuan, second-class driver, wife Fat D, a 1.6 million word thick elder book for everyone to enjoy. Chapter 6. The General Assembly of the Whole Court, at the Foolish Pillar. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After washing up, Zhang Xiangdong yawned and arrived at the front courtyard of the courtyard. The familiar 8 immortals table has already been set up here. 3 gentlemen, Zhonghai, Lu Haizhong, and Yan Bugui, are sitting at the table. These 3 people do this every time there is a meeting, and if the deaf old lady is present, she will sit in another seat. But as the old man gets older and his health is not good, she will only appear unless her grandson, Silly Zhu, has something to do. Speaking of how foolish the deaf old lady is, it can also be considered an unsolvable mystery in the courtyard. Old people are greedy, lazy, and slippery, not good to anyone, but only a group of people who are good to silly pillars. In the original drama, she played a cunning trick and locked the doors of Lu Xiao and Silly Zhu, allowing Lu Xiaoa to give birth to a son for silly Zhu without saying anything. And after death, he also left his own house to silly Zhu. Zhang Xiangdong pondered that if given the opportunity, he could study what was going on. But for now, it's important to get down to business first. On the empty ground opposite the 8 immortals table, the residents of the courtyard, whether squatting or sitting, also arrived at the scene. Seeing that everyone was almost there, second uncle Lu Haizhong stood out first. Today, I invite everyone to come over to discuss the Jia family's affairs. I believe everyone already knows about yesterday's incident. While Jia Zhang was chatting at the entrance of Zhang's house in the backyard, a group of people suddenly descended from the sky and beat her up. The beating was so bloody that she probably didn't even know her biological mother when she arrived. After talking about something that everyone knew, Lu Haizhong sat down. Then Zhonghai stepped forward. Later, when Dongxu his mother sent him to the hospital, the famous Lu Yidao had his leg amputated, and his legs were gone below the knee. Now it is, the surgical expenses have been advanced by the silly pillar, but the subsequent hospitalization expenses. Everyone knows that the days of the Jia family are difficult. Qin Huairu is now pregnant again. No one wants to see such a thing happen. So the 3 of us gentlemen organized this fundraising. I hope everyone can exert their spirit and actively donate. Speaking of which, Zhonghai looked at Zhang Xiangdong and said, especially you, Zhang Xiangdong. Your Aunt Zhang was beaten at your doorstep, so you should donate more, both emotionally and logically. Although the police determined that the beating of Jia and Zhang had nothing to do with Zhang Xiangdong, but Zhonghai believes that it is closely related to him. Besides, this Zhang Xiangdong is naturally weak. If he doesn't extort, who will he extort? Upon hearing this, Zhang Xiangdong immediately became happy and said, "Didn't I say Zhonghai? Are you crazy? His Jia and Zhang families robbed my house, and you asked me to donate to him. Are you stupid or am I stupid? What about robbing a house?" That was the last meeting of the entire hospital, and everyone agreed to treat that house as a public house. Zhonghai frowned and spoke. "That's right, Zhang Xiangdong, you are occupying the public housing and not leaving. This matter is your fault first," Lu Haizhong also said. "Can't he help the Jia family by snatching over 3 rooms and leaving one at his house?" Zhang Xiangdong looked at Lu Haizhong and said, "Since you're saying that, I have to ask Lu Haizhong. Who agreed at the last conference to treat my house as public housing for you animals?" Hush. Upon hearing that Zhang Xiangdong was actually calling second uncle a beast to his face, the ordinary residents of the courtyard immediately gasped for air. Lu Haizhong reached out angrily and pointed at Zhang Xiangdong. "Zhang Xiangdong, who are you cursing?" "I'm cursing you. I want to take my house and give you face, right? Shameless old thing, old beast, old dog." As soon as Zhang Xiangdong spoke, a series of curses never stopped. You. Lu Haizhong was scolded and had no ability to resist. Zhonghai immediately patted the table and said, "Zhang Xiangdong, making that house a public house is the opinion of this courtyard house. Are you going against this courtyard house? Yo. Is this a move?" Zhang Xiangdong suddenly smiled and looked around the crowd. "Do you all agree to treat my house as a public house?" "I disagree." "I don't agree either." "You have to be shameless, how can you rob someone else's house?" "I don't agree either, you guys are bullying too much." "I don't agree either. Today you robbed the Zhang family's house. Who knows if you will rob my house tomorrow? If I watch with cold eyes today and disaster strikes me someday, then no one will flag and shout for me." The ones who spoke were all Zhang Xiangdong's death attendants. And the words of the last 2 death attendants clearly hit the pain points of ordinary residents in the courtyard. During the last general meeting of the entire hospital, the 3 masters of the courtyard used their power to suppress others, and the deaf old lady also came out to take control. Jia Dongxu, Lu Guangqi and others brutally attacked Zhang Xiangdong, and they were not unaware of it. They were just afraid of the 3 masters. and seeing that no one had taken the lead in fighting against injustice, they all became cowardly turtles one by one. But at this point, they all stood up and spoke up for Zhang Xiangdong. After all, just now, the famous Death Attendant spoke of their deepest fear: if Zhang Xiangdong's house is occupied, who knows if it's their turn next. Do you want to rebel? Seeing the residents lose control, Silly Zhu stood up angrily, waving his fists. Previously, whenever someone disagreed with an old man, he would punch them until they were convinced. Rebellion. Stupid pillar, what do you think you are? Are you emperors? Do you want to restore the feudal dynasty and reverse history? Zhang Xiangdong sternly said. Hush. Upon hearing his words, Zhonghai and others trembled all over. Reverse the course of history. Button off this big hat, it's amazing. Zhang Xiangdong, what are you talking nonsense? The pillar just casually said, don't go online. Zhonghai said hurriedly. Besides, let's not mention the matter of the house for now. What we're talking about now is fundraising. Don't go too far. Watching the entire courtyard house, except for the few that could benefit from it, all the other residents opposed the confiscation of Zhang Xiangdong's house. Zhonghai wisely quickly searched through this matter and began talking about donations. But Zhang Xiangdong did not let him go, but pursued him with victory. What does it mean to leave it at the moment? Just tell me, do all the residents of the courtyard agree to confiscate my house now? Do I have to hand over my house? Chapter 7. Beating Jia Dongxu, Qin Huairu sells miserably. You are listening at novel.Audio. Upon hearing Zhang Xiangdong's resounding questioning, Zhonghai, Lu Haizhong, and Yan Bugui, you look at me, I look at you. I always feel that after Zhang Xiangdong recovered from his illness this time, he has become somewhat different. Is it because I pushed him too hard before? As the saying goes, when a rabbit is in a hurry, it still bites people. Thinking of this, Zhonghai gave Jia Dongxu a reproachful glance. He had already said that if you want a house, just wait with peace of mind. After enduring Zhang Xiangdong to death, is there only a 3-year-old girl left to be controlled by them? Jia Dongxu couldn't bear his temper and incited Lu Haizhong and Yan Bugui. Now it's ready. Not only will the house not fall into my hands, but I will also be led by Zhang Xiangdong's army. After Zhang Xiangdong finished questioning, he looked at Zhonghai with bright eyes, waiting for his reply. Zhonghai had no choice but to grit his head and say, the previous plenary session may have been biased. The house belongs to you, Zhang Xiangdong, and this matter will not be discussed again in the future. Grandpa. Lao Yi. Master. Lu Hai and Yan Bugui, Jia Dongxu heard him say this and was immediately anxious. Why did you just give the house to Zhang Xiangdong like this? What should their two families do? Lu Guangqi is waiting for a house to go on a blind date and get married. Yan Jicheng has already gotten married, and to this day, they are still living in the same room with their two younger brothers. Not to mention Jia Dongxu, if you can't get an advantage, then even if you lose it. Zhonghai let out a sigh, and he didn't know the thoughts of these three people. Just although he is an old man, he cannot resist all public opinion. Glancing at them, according to regulations, as long as Zhang Xiangdong lives for one day, the house belongs to him. Upon hearing this, Zhang Xiangdong immediately smiled. Why are you playing word games with me here? Don't worry, you beasts have all died, and I can't die either. In fact, he can also find the street and expose the matter. After all, as Zhonghai said, the house is divided by the street. The occupancy of houses by Zhonghai and others does not comply with the regulations at all. The matter has really escalated. These people are occupying houses and stealing things, so they have to go in a few. But Zhang Xiangdong is unwilling to do so. Because he had no intention of writing to these beasts, what about going to jail? Those who don't hurt their muscles or bones will at most be looked down upon by others, causing them to lose their jobs and have a negative political impact. But his plan was to eradicate the root cause, what reputation, social death, social influence, political influence, there is nothing that doesn't exist. Qin Huairu saw that the matter of the house had become a foregone conclusion, so she stepped forward and began to turn the topic towards donations. The house has been lost, the fundraising process cannot fail. Just before she finished speaking, she was interrupted by Zhang Xiangdong. The matter of the house is over, the theft is not over yet. Zhang Xiangdong looked at Qin Huairu and then coldly said to Jia Dongxu, "These days, your family has emptied our house. I'm too lazy to do the same with you, just give a rough idea. My sewing machine costs 300 yuan, and the rest adds up to 200 yuan, totaling 500 yuan. Lose money. Everyone in the courtyard knows about Jia Dongxu and Jia Zhang's theft from the Zhang family." So at this moment, there was no surprise when Zhang Xiangdong said that the Jia family had emptied their house. At most, it's strange how Zhang Xiangdong's temperament has changed greatly. However, their thoughts were similar to those of Zhonghai, and they all felt that he was being pressured by the Jia family and others, so they didn't say anything more. Just when Jia Dongxu heard 500 yuan, his pupils immediately tightened. This is his salary for almost 2 years. I lost my house just now Zhang Xiangdong is demanding compensation again. Even with Zhonghai on the side, his expression was restrained in front of everyone. Jia Dongxu is still preparing to break the jar and throw. "Zhang Xiangdong, I gave you face, didn't I?" He screamed and rushed towards Zhang Xiangdong, intending to hit him. The eunuch of the courtyard became anxious when he saw it. But Zhang Xiangdong's gaze pushed them back. He has just taken the gene potion and his body has improved, so he happens to be practicing with Jia Dongxu. Watching Jia Dongxu come over, Zhang Xiangdong punched him hard in the lower abdomen. Jia Dongxu's entire spine curved in a strange curve, as if he had been hit by a big truck, and his internal organs were almost shattered. He suddenly felt pain, as if all his internal organs were about to break. The intense pain made him half kneel on the ground. "Dongxu, how are you doing?" Qin Huairu hurriedly came over and helped him shout. "Hush!" The people in the courtyard suddenly widened their eyes upon seeing this. Zhang Xiangdong actually beat Jia Dongxu. How could this be possible? Don't say he's sick now, even when he wasn't sick, he was still a scumbag in the courtyard. Jia Dongxu, silly Zhu, Yan brothers, Lu brothers, even Su Damao has beaten him more than once. And after he fell ill, even more so, there are only those who get beaten. Has Zhang Xiangdong recovered from his illness? Don't say it, it's really possible. I saw his face improve a lot today. But even if he recovers from his illness, he can't beat Jia Dongxu. Hey! I'm being forced into a hurry, what can't be done? A group of people were discussing one after another. Zhonghai became anxious when he saw his elderly man being beaten up like a dog, and his voice exploded. "Zhang Xiangdong, how could you hit someone? If Jia Dongxu is killed, who will provide him with retirement? Yo, Grandpa, why did you see me when I hit Jia Dongxu? Last time Jia Dongxu hit me, why were you blind?" Zhang Xiangdong sneered. Zhonghai paused in his words. Zhang Xiangdong didn't pay any attention to him anymore. Instead, he walked up to Jia Dongxu kneeling and said condescendingly, 500, now, immediately, give it to me, understand? Jia Dongxu's forehead was covered in beads of sweat the size of beans, clearly in excruciating pain. But he didn't want to lose money, so he gritted his teeth and remained silent. The left hand twisted Qin Huairu's waist fiercely behind her, making her stand out. Qin Huairu stood up and explained with a soft and weak expression, "Well, heading east, the sewing machine is still on display at my house. I'll give it back to you, as well as a table and so on. You only count the grain vouchers, don't you think about the consumption of grain. You see how difficult our family is, just take it as a pitiful Qin sister. Can you take a little less?" As he spoke, there was a mist in his eyes, and he looked pitifully at Zhang Xiangdong. The new book is on its way, please give us a free flower as a token of support. Thank you very much. On the first day, we guarantee a minimum of 10 shifts. As long as we provide the data, we can make 12, 15, and 20 shifts. As long as the flower evaluation ticket is in place, the author will update it to death, and it will definitely make everyone enjoy it. The person who can threaten me in Chapter 8 is not yet born. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Qin Huairu put on a pitiful expression, but at this moment, she was particularly regretful. Why did Jia Dongxu indulge in moving the sewing machine from the Zhang family in the beginning? This alone costs 300 yuan. I can't fight, but I can't say. So we had to resort to our unique skills to sell out miserably, make a white lotus-like posture, hoping that Zhang Xiangdong will spare himself. She used the technique of selling tragedy with great skill, and every time she could captivate the fans of the silly pillar. She thinks all men are the same. Thinking of this, her gaze towards Zhang Xiangdong became even more affectionate. Zhang Xiangdong snorted coldly and looked at her with disgust. I don't want anything that has been touched by your dirty hands. Your whole family is thieves, don't pretend to be pitiful to me. A white lotus green tea bitch, looking at it makes me sick. This Qin Huairu always puts on a pitiful appearance, taking advantage of various things and taking advantage of others. I thought I was very smart. Little did they know that others would treat her as a mere reason. I usually take 1 or 2 mantu to play in the small warehouse. Nobody takes her seriously. She would only play with a fool like silly pillar in the palm of her hand. Qin Huairu felt an instant displeasure when she saw Zhang Xiangdong looking at her with a fly-like gaze. Her gaze involuntarily drifted towards Zhonghai, but your sewing machine is old. The underlying meaning is, aren't you a corrupt person? Zhonghai received the signal and felt that he had found Zhang Xiangdong's loophole, so he stepped forward, to the east, asked the Jia family to compensate for the grain. There's no problem with 200 yuan for tables and chairs, and even the first uncle supports it, it's just that. Speaking of which, his tone changed, it's just that the sewing machine is old, it was used by your mother for several years when she was alive. We are all neighbors, isn't it too much to ask the Jia family to compensate according to the new one? Is that correct? It was a mistake for the Qin Huairu family to steal from you, but they already knew it was wrong and were willing to compensate. Why are you so aggressive and taking advantage of others' danger? We are all neighbors, please forgive others and don't do anything too extreme. Being a good person still requires kindness. Don't just think about yourself, but also look at others' difficulties. Zhonghai's words are full of righteousness, and moral kidnapping is his specialty. Just now, the public opinion was snatched away by Zhang Xiangdong. He's planning to snatch it back now. Sure enough, after listening to his words, silly Zhu couldn't help but come out and say, that's right, Zhang Xiangdong. What you're doing is forcing Sister Qin to the death. You just hit someone, why are you so cruel? Qin's family only stole something, but you want to force them to death. At this point, silly Zhu looked at Qin Huairu's aggrieved expression and wished he could hold her in his arms and comfort her. Excessive cruelty. Zhang Xiangdong gave a cold smile and said, it's only natural for someone to kill someone to pay for their life, and it's only natural for them to owe money. No need to talk nonsense. Whoever thinks the Jia family is pitiful will help them pay for it themselves. That's right, stealing is still reasonable. Lu Xiaoyi shouted loudly. Although she had seen Qin Huairu pitifully before, she had also helped and delivered stick noodles a few times. But since Uncle Zhang passed away, she also understood the attitude of the Jia family towards their younger siblings. There is not a good person in this Jia family, including Qin Huairu. So now, she said without mercy. Mosey is right, don't steal if you think the compensation is too high. Su Damao also added his knife. He helped Zhang Xiangdong speak not because of anything else, but purely because he didn't deal with silly Zhu. Are you foolishly flattering Qin Huairu to help the Jia family? Then I'll just add some trouble to you. Hey, just for fun, I'm so angry with you. Su Dumao's words make sense. The Jia family has been stealing since Lao Jia was alive, so it's time to cure them. The Jia family even stole a cabbage from my house. It's time to tidy up. The others also stood on Zhang Xiangdong's side, falling to the ground. The reason why they are like this is, on the one hand, because the dead attendants are leading the rhythm, on the other hand, the Jia family has been stealing things for a long time. Watching a group of people start criticizing the Jia family again, Zhonghai's eyes turned cold as he planned to use his power to suppress others, but a hypocritical smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. I said to the east, do you look much better now? Since that's the case, maybe you'll have to go back to the steel mill in a few days. They are all neighbors. If there is anything you don't understand in the factory in the future, just come and find an old man. The underlying meaning is, if you have to deal with me today, then don't blame me for taking care of you in the factory. How could Zhang Xiangdong not hear his meaning? What kind of thing, are you really treating yourself like a scallion? Threatening me with work? Okay, then when I arrive at the factory, I will play with you well. The person who can threaten me is not yet born. He looked at Zhonghai and said, then I'll thank Grandpa first. But as someone who doesn't like to find people when facing difficulties, I love myself. So I won't bother you. Also, since an old man thinks it's not appropriate for me to ask the Jia family to compensate at the original price, why not call the police? Let the police see how to handle it. I believe the people's police will give me a fair deal. After speaking, he took out $1 from his pocket and said, I'll give you $1. Can anyone help me report to the police? Just give 1 yuan for running errands. Now the Yen family is excited. Although they also participated in the house robbery, they did not participate in stealing anything. Yen Bugue's eyes flickered as his 3 sons rushed towards him like wild dogs running free from their reins. But he was tightly held down by Zhonghai. Just kidding. How can we call the police? That thing was all stolen by Jia Dongxu. If he reports it to the police, Jia Dongxu will have to go to prison to pick up soap. If he goes to prison, who will he rely on to retire in the future? Thinking of this, he dared not bargain with Zhang Xiangdong anymore and said, Xiangdong, look at you. If you have something to say, please speak up and report it to the police. Isn't it just 500 yuan? I made the decision and helped the Jia family agree. Just before he could finish speaking, a burst of excitement came from outside the door. He's an old man. I can't agree. Chapter 9. Mother-in-law, may affect her career. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone turned around upon hearing the words. I saw an old lady carrying Jia and Zhang back with her 2 necks using a door panel. And surprisingly, Jia Zhang's body was only half full, and she was nowhere to be seen below her knees. On those 2 knee bones, there was still gauze wrapped around them, and blood oozed from the gauze. Hiss, is this without legs? Being beaten by 50 people, even if you don't die, you'll be a fortune teller. You'll be a useless person from now on. When the old lady had legs before, wasn't she also a waste? Mom! How did you come back? Jia Dongxu looked bewildered. That dog hospital kicked me out. Jia Zhang lay panting on the door panel that served as a stretcher. After waking up today, she found herself without legs, angry, asked the hospital to compensate, cursed the heavens and the earth. They said they were reckless and wanted to hang themselves at the hospital gate. Actually, she doesn't understand why her leg was cut improperly. I just thought that since my legs were gone, if I could make some money, I would make some mistakes. Who knew that Yidao was even more ruthless than her? I gave her a rope and a bottle of medicine directly. Hang the rope, drink medicine and send bottles. Jia Zhang naturally didn't want to die, so he continued to make trouble. As a result, they drove me back directly. Go worries hospital, when I'm good, I'll have to kill them. Jia Zhang continued to curse. Cursing and cursing, I remembered the 500 yuan I heard when I came back, and my eyes became anxious again. I'm not living anymore. Zhang Xiangdong bullied my family, extorted us, and even Zhonghai helped, bullying our orphan and widowed mother. What kind of fate am I? Zhang Xiangdong is trying to force me to death. When I die, being a ghost will not spare you. Jia Zhang ignored the pain in her body and cried while shouting and cursing. Mom, Mom, don't die. What should I do if you die? This family can't live without you. Jia Dongxu cooperated and lay on top of her, crying loudly. The collaboration between the two can be described as seamless. Intending to show everyone the pitiful appearance of his own family, he morally kidnapped Zhang Xiangdong and exerted pressure on him. It's just that everyone in the courtyard has already grown tired of watching this play. Crying, making trouble, and hanging oneself 3 times are all Jia Zhang's specialties. This old lady commits suicide every year. I've seen 10 out of 20 times before. Really? Qin Huairu just committed suicide last month because he ate an extra mantou. He forced Qin Huairu to kneel down and not say anything, and was beaten into a pig's head by Jia Dongxu. In the summer, she stole my house's dried radish. I asked her to reason with me. Oh my goodness, hang sausages at my doorstep when I came up. I was so scared that I turned around and apologized to her. If a tree doesn't want bark, it will definitely die. If a person doesn't want face, they will be invincible in the world. The Jia family is also accustomed to this kind of behavior. Shameless, Zhang Xiangdong should take good care of them. Pay back. Pay back. Driven by those dead attendants, the entire courtyard was filled with roars of repayment. People from other yards were attracted and gathered around one by one. Find out what's going on and shout along. Repay the money. Repay the money. Hundreds of people, roaring deafening. Hearing the roar of hundreds of people, Jia Zhang and Jia Dongxu's mother and son were immediately overwhelmed. No, it's not, our family is being pushed to death by Zhang Xiangdong. Why don't you not only condemn him, but also criticize us? Help him speak to Zhang Xiangdong. This is not right. Zhonghai's face turned green with anger when he saw the Jia family's mother and son making a scene, which also implicated him. Foolish fork, these mother and son, didn't you see that everyone was going to report to the police? If you don't hurry and calm down, don't say anything, are you still playing moral kidnapping here? I already know about this alleyway, what if it reaches the street? On the side of the bangs, someone muttered that the 3 gentlemen were not good enough and wanted to report to the street office, almost causing them to pee. No, this matter has nothing to do with me. You can't bring me with you to expose me. The thief is Jia Dongxu, the indulgent one is Zhonghai, it has nothing to do with me. Crisis PR. Crisis PR is imminent. Dear mother, if you don't handle it well, it may affect your career. Seeing the appearance of the bangs, Zhonghai's face turned black, he looked at Jia Dongxu and said coldly, Dongxu. Your mother doesn't understand why you don't understand. It's only natural for you to steal something and lose money. Don't embarrass yourself here, mother and son. Although Jia Dongxu doesn't know why Zhonghai suddenly favors Zhang Xiangdong, but he's not stupid, I know that my biggest reliance in this courtyard is Zhonghai. So when he heard the other side saying something, he covered his mother Jia Zhang's mouth without saying anything. Qin Huairu leaned in and whispered to him to analyze the situation. Upon seeing this, Zhonghai nodded at Qin Huairu and then looked around at the crowd of people who were discussing, clearing their throats and saying, all right, everyone be quiet and stop talking. Today's situation is indeed not right with the Jia family, and it is only natural for Zhang Xiangdong to demand compensation. As an elder in the courtyard, I am very supportive. Anyway, they are all neighbors. There is no need to really go to court if there is anything that needs to be discussed. Speaking, he stopped to look at Zhang Xiangdong's face. As a master of a courtyard house, even if he has done something remarkable behind his back, but in front of others, he values reputation the most. Today's situation is so chaotic. Jia Zhang has been criticized and implicated, and he has also been chewed on. Most importantly, if Zhang Xiangdong reports to the police, his reputation is definitely going to be ruined, and his designated elder Jia Dongxu is afraid of going to jail as well. After some contemplation, despite his immense anger towards Zhang Xiangdong, at this point, one can only pretend to be upright and urge the Jia family to compensate and appease Zhang Xiangdong. As for his true thoughts in his heart. The days ahead are long. He doesn't believe that he's an 8th-level fitter, a master of courtyard management, and can't even handle a small fitter named Zhang Xiangdong. Upon hearing that Zhonghai asked the Jia family to lose money, Qin Huairu, Jia Dongxu, and Jia Zhang had not said anything yet, but silly Zhu became anxious first. No, how can you make a loss, Grandpa? Qin Jia's life is so difficult. Even if she has done something wrong, why can't he understand Zhang Xiangdong, a handsome man? The new book is on its way. Please give us a free flower as a token of support. Thank you very much. On the first day, we guarantee a minimum of 6 shifts. As long as we provide the data, we can make 10, 15, and 20 shifts. As long as the flower evaluation ticket is in place, the author will update it to death, and it will definitely make everyone enjoy it. Chapter 10. Qin Huairu's beating, silly pillars heartbroken. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Understanding. Upon hearing silly Zhu's words, Zhang Xiangdong was immediately speechless. This is really like being a dog, thinking that everyone loves to eat shit. Alright, silly pillar, there's no place for you to talk. Zhonghai was afraid of causing trouble again and quickly scolded silly pillar. Seeing that losing money has become a foregone conclusion, Jia Dongxu grabbed Zhonghai's hem with a mournful expression and said, Master, you know about my family's situation. I really don't have any money. 500 yuan, even if you sell me, you can't afford to pay. My salary is only 27 yuan per month. Unlike you, your monthly salary is 99%. Jia Dongxu cried as if his mother had died while selling his sorrows. Both inside and outside, he said he didn't have money and wanted Zhonghai to help him with this money. Zhonghai is not foolish. He treats Jia Dongxu as a retirement partner and usually favors them in the yard. It's good to maintain Jia Dongxu in the factory. But the premise of all that is not spending money. He is looking for elderly people. The main focus is to provide emotional support without giving any pressure. Want him to spend money finding someone to take care of himself. Why doesn't he adopt a child? Well, Dongxu, I've already saved all my money until the end of my life. I can't get it out for a while now. He doesn't know what the Jia family's virtues are, a family of rice worms. If they really lend them money to start with, I'm afraid they won't be able to get rid of it in the future. But master, I really don't have money. Can I? Seeing Zhonghai dying, Jia Dongxu's teeth itched with anger, but he still wanted to struggle. Alright, Dongxu. As you know about our family situation, your mother's health is not good, and we are not wealthy. Zhonghai's face turned cold and pulled his clothes out of Jia Dongxu's hand. Zhang Xiangdong saw that Zhonghai had been defending the Jia family just now, but now that he saw the Jia family borrowing money, he immediately changed his face and immediately exclaimed in his heart that he was lying down. This Zhonghai is really a true hypocrite. When it's not personal, stand on the moral high ground and condemn others. When encountering the need for effort, immediately turn around and refuse to recognize others. Being strict with others and lenient with oneself, I am indeed a model in the whole courtyard. He clapped his hands with a smile on his face. Zhonghai's face turned black, as if he hadn't understood his meaning. Jia Dongxu had a flat meal at Zhonghai. Turning his head, he saw Qin Huairu and silly Zhu standing together, talking about something. He slapped angrily and said, Watch. It's all your fault. If it weren't for your insistence on a sewing machine, how could this mess have happened? Qin Huairu saw that he had shifted all the blame onto herself, so she reluctantly covered her face and explained, "No, Dongxu. It was clearly my mother who asked me to get the sewing machine back and asked me to make clothes to support my family. Why is it now that she insists on a sewing machine?" She was really shot while lying down. Seeing Qin Huairu dare to talk back, Jia Dongxu grabbed her hair and arched left and right, causing a few big fights. "Bitch, how dare you talk back? I'll kill you. Is the sewing machine what you are using? Isn't it? Has my mother used it once? I'll tell you, you've already paid out the 500 yuan compensation. If you don't have any money, go sell the batch. That's right, it's all this lowly hoof who caused trouble. If it weren't for her, our family would have been so unlucky to kill her." Jia Zhang was then moved to the lounge chair and cursed on the side. She lost her leg and became a useless person, with nowhere to vent her anger in her heart. So, as usual, it all vented on Qin Huairu. The people in the courtyard saw Qin Huairu being beaten again. "Look at me, I look at you," but they just didn't speak. It's too normal for men to beat their wives in this era. Only the foolish pillar was heartbroken on the side. Watching Qin Huairu suffer from several big fights, the corners of her mouth are bleeding from being beaten. Qin Jia is suffering. Such a beautiful woman married Jia Dongxu, this beast, serving a large family every day. I was constantly being teased and bullied by the devout old lady of the Jia Zhang family. I'm already 8 months pregnant now, in front of so many people, I still have to be beaten by Jia Dongxu. Poor Qin sister. Silly Zhu has been secretly in love with Qin Huairu for quite some time now. I don't usually indulge in sexual activity. At this moment, Jia Dongxu pulled out a belt to pull Qin Huairu, who was pregnant, for 500 yuan. He could no longer resist rushing forward and protecting Qin Huairu behind him. "Stop fighting, isn't it just 500 yuan? I'll pay." "Hush." When the people in the courtyard heard this, they immediately gasped for air. "This is 500 yuan. Silly Zhu actually helped the Jia family out. Isn't Silly Zhu only earning 35 yuan a month? He actually lent the Jia family more than a year's salary. This is not important, what's important is that the Jia family will definitely not repay it. This money is just meat buns beating dogs. There are really names that are called the wrong, no nicknames that are called the wrong. Silly Zhu is indeed a fool." A group of people were discussing one after another, but Su Dumao snorted coldly on the side. "What kind of thing? Silly Zhu, this grandson is just greedy for the body of Qin Huai people, he's despicable. Qin Huairu is already 8 months pregnant and about to give birth. Silly Zhu is just a beast. Silly pillar is not cheap, Zhang Xiangdong can't control it, anyway. Just get the money and you'll be fine." That's it. Silly Zhu returned to his own room in the courtyard, took out all the wife books he had saved up, and handed them to Qin Huairu with a thud. "Silly Zhu, thank you. It's better if you treat Qin Jia well." Qin Huairu took the money and said a few good words to Silly Zhu. Silly Zhu's face immediately turned red with excitement, and he patted his chest with boundless passion. "What a big deal, Qin Jia. If you have anything in the future, just feel free to come to me." Finally, there was a chance for the hero to save the beauty. Silly Zhu pulled Qin Huairu and kept talking about it. "I didn't even notice the sinister gaze of Jia Dongxu behind me. Although Qin Huairu doesn't want to deal with silly pillars, I am also afraid of Jia Dongxu's gaze, but after all, I just took the money from the silly pillar, so it's not easy to turn my face directly." So he had no choice but to pretend to be perfunctory with the silly pillar. The matter of the house and furniture was finally resolved, and Zhonghai stepped forward, trying to steer the topic towards fundraising. "Alright, everyone has seen it too. Qin Huairu's mother.in.law, Aunt Zhang is sitting here now and has been rushed back because she can't afford the medical expenses. She is so pitiful. As an advanced collective in this street, shouldn't our courtyard house extend a helping hand?" I'll take the lead and donate 20 yuan first. After speaking, he took 2 big black 10 and patted them on the 8 immortals table. I'll donate 2. Silly Zhu rushed over and patted 20 onto the table, then turned his head to look at Zhang Xiangdong. How much do you donate? This guy just earned 500. I have posted 100,000 words, but not a single review ticket. Kneel down for everyone, please give me one.